Raider Nation, we're going to be doing a jersey giveaway this Sunday live on the Raiders Report. If you subscribe, if you turn on those notifications, you have a chance to win, and it's going to be a jersey of your choosing. So not one that I'm going to wear, but one that I'm going to be able to send to y'all. So if you're watching the show this Sunday, you got a chance to win a jersey. Here's the thing, though. If you're not subscribed, you have a 0% chance of winning. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. It's Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports. And coming up on today's show, I wanted to show you guys a little bit of a preview / prediction / my keys to victory for the Silver and Black going up against the Miami Dolphins in Week 11. As it stands right now, the Raiders are 5-5. The Dolphins are 6-3. And this game a day before my dad's birthday. So if you guys want to wish my dad a birthday on Sunday, another reason to make sure that you join in. So what I wanted to be able to do here on today's show, since the Raiders are big-time underdogs, I wanted to give you my 5 keys on offense and my 5 keys on defense. Though, I got to ask this question because I've been rolling with it. It's been working. What's your confidence level in the Raiders beating the Dolphins this week? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1 being you're not confident at all. 10, it is a guarantee that the Silver and Black march down to Miami, walk into Hard Rock Stadium, and they come away with a dub, making Antonio Pierce 3-0 on the season as the Raiders' interim head coach. So coming up here on the show, we're going to start with the offensive side of the football. I reached out to one of my good buddies who's very well connected with the Dolphins, and I asked him, give me some big-time weaknesses for this team. So based off the information he gave me is where you're going to see some of these keys to victory for the Silver and Black. The first one is this. You got to stick to the run game. You heard Antonio Pierce, how frustrated he was going into halftime against the New York Jets. He was like, we need to stick to the running game. The way that Josh Jacobs has been playing, and right now he's top 3 in the NFL in rushing yards, which we found out live, which was kind of an amazing stat considering the fact of how bad he / the team was to start the season. But not only do you have to stick to the running game to, keep your offense moving, that takes a major weight off of Aidan O'Connell's shoulders. I also thought that the Raiders' offensive line ran block a lot better than they pass blocked. And then on top of that, even more is the Miami Dolphins right now have the number 1 offense in the NFL. An easy way to keep the clock moving, to keep them on the sideline, to win that time of possession battle is to pound the rock with Jacobs, because right now, I know he fumbled late in the game last week, but dude, that guy is running, and he looks a lot like the way he did last season. And it's also because they've been doing a lot more scheme, like zone runs, and not so much just of the power runs. Let's go to the next thing here. Move Aidan O'Connell in the pocket. To me, AOC was so much like a sit and duck last week where it was kind of frustrating, and I get it. The Jets' defense is totally, totally different compared to the Miami Dolphins' defense. The Jets have one of the best defenses in the entire league. But to me, though, I want to move Aidan maybe to the left, maybe to the right. Just move him around a little bit because this season the Dolphins have really struggled with running quarterbacks. I am not saying at all that Aidan O'Connell, I want him to run. I'm not saying at all that he's a mobile quarterback. What I'm saying is the Dolphins have really struggled this season when a play maybe has broken down a little bit and the QB is able to roll out of the pocket, find a guy open down the field. So to me, if I'm the Raiders, I'm trying to do a lot of play action. Get that running game going. Get Aidan's feet moving so he's not a sitting duck in the pocket. Get him to roll out maybe to the right, maybe him roll out to the left a little bit. Just change it up because that's where the Dolphins secondary has really struggled this year. Let's go to another one here. You want to control the clock. The longer your offense is on the field, the less time the Dolphins offense can be on the field. Breaking news, right? But that's going to be a big part of this game where if the Raiders think that they're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with that Dolphins offense, I'm sorry. I'm the biggest Raider fan that you're going to find up here on this show, right? And I'm sure a lot of y'all can agree with this. If the Raiders think that they're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Dolphins offense, they're going to lose that fight. So to me, this is going to be one of those fights. Instead of going for that knockout punch all the time, hit them with a few jabs. Go to the body a little bit. Maybe you got to throw in a few shin kicks, a few leg kicks, a few thigh kicks. Stomp on some feet for all my UFC guys out there. And then you might be able to land a knockout punch later on. But to me, run the ball, chew up some clock, because if you can keep that Dolphins offense on the sideline and limit their possessions, you have a chance to win this football game. Let's go to the next one here. Let's get the tight ends involved. And one of my biggest things that I saw from the notes that I got from my Dolphins guy was they have not done a very good job this season up against tight ends. And hell yeah, man, I got to show it. The Wreck-It Ralph shirt here, a little Michael Mayer action. Oh, dude, the back is sick. The back is sick. Again, anytime you guys have a T-shirt, you're a Raiders report watcher, and you own a business, hit me up, man. If I have the ability to show your product, I'm more than happy to try to do it. But you got to get the tight ends involved. And one of the areas that I've really been impressed with Michael Mayer recently is he's gotten better as a blocker. He's already showing you that catch he had this past week going up and getting that ball, Aidan O'Connell trusts him, and I guess he should because Mayer's turning into a hell of a tight end. He's getting more snaps run out there. He was called a tough SOB by Antonio Pierce. But the way that the Dolphins' defense has worked this season, they've done a better job against receivers. So with that being said, let's get the tight end involved a little bit. And then I kind of combined this one a little bit, and shout out for Jeremy for getting a little bit ballsy on the graphic. No turnovers, and you got to be ballsy a little bit on offense. Like, to me, I look at this Dolphins team, and the Dolphins are a better football team than the Raiders. I'm not afraid to say it. However, though, if you don't turn the ball over, you're going to give yourself a shot to win. But then also get ballsy. Like, to me, the Raiders' offense this past week looked a little bit vanilla, right? It just looked a little bit stale. I wanted to see a little bit more excitement. And then right when the Raiders, I felt like, got a little bit creative, like the fake tush-push end around with Trey Tucker type of move there. Maybe it was DeAndre Carter. Either one. Like, those are the type of plays. It was DeAndre Carter. Those type of plays are the ones that can inspire an offense to get that momentum going. So, to me, I hope Bo Hardegree is ready to go because he needs to get a little bit ballsier on the offensive side of the football. Now, I am going to give you my defensive keys in here in just a second, but since we're talking about offense, let's keep it here with fantasy football, and shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. And if anybody wants to play along with Jeremy and I, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. So I know we're talking NFL here, but guess what? If you want to get started with NBA, you can also do that. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you wanted to do a combo of the Raiders game and, I don't know, Warriors, Lakers, whoever. Let's just say you could do one that's like Steph Curry 3-point field goals with Davante Adams receptions. Like, that's why I love Prize Picks. You can do a whole bunch of different things, and Prize Picks is very, very creative. And if you put down just like $10 on a game, I'm telling you right now, you're going to be locked and loaded into whatever that game is. So my picks for this Week 11 matchup between the Raiders and the Dolphins, I'm going to go this route. I'm going to go less with Tua Tagovailoa and 272.5 passing yards. Like, I see that the Raiders are major underdogs in this game. However, the Raiders defense has been playing really well. Like, you can't take that away from them. In terms of Josh Jacobs, give me the more on the overall touchdowns. He's just got to score one. And then I'm going to go more on Daniel Carlson, the villain in every 90s movie, and according to Jeremy, it looks like the team captain of the Iceland team in the Mighty Ducks movies. Give me the more on the 1.5 field goals made, and if you want to go with those picks, hey, prizepicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS. If you're like, Mitch, you're crazy, I'm not going with them. Guess what? Fade me. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Put your money where your mouth is. Get started. Play a little fantasy. I promise you this, you're going to have fun doing it. In today's day and age, if I could put $10 down and have 2 to 3 hours of entertainment, that is worth every single penny. All right, let's keep it moving here on the Raiders Report. Let's now go to the defensive side of the football and give you some of the defensive keys here for the Silver and Black. And I'm going to go a little bit different than what I usually go with in terms of some of the vernaculars, if you will. The first one is the defensive line needs to beat the weak offensive line for the Dolphins. So to me, when I look at this Dolphins offense, by far their weakest link in that chain is the guys up front. And the reason why I'm confident that this team has the ability to win a football game here for the Raiders is because if you lose the trenches battle, you might lose that football game. And sure, the Dolphins are big-time favorites, but the Dolphins are 6-0 against teams with losing records, and they are 0-3 against teams with a winning record. And the more and more tape I watch on this Miami Dolphins team is this. They're soft. And the way the Raiders are playing with a chip on their shoulder, guess what? They're playing pretty tough football right now. Let's go to the next one here, and it's put pressure on the center. Mitch, what the hell are you talking about? The Dolphins' worst spot right now on their offensive line is Connor Williams. And I literally LOL'd because you would have thought I was talking about our old Dolphins host, Will Scott. But my buddy who I was texting said, no, their center position is a big-time eyesore. I mean, you essentially got a guard playing center, and it hasn't worked out all that well. And one of the tips that he gave me was when teams put a lot of pressure on the center, and what do I mean by that? They get their defensive tackles, and they go after the interior of that offensive line instead of going on the outside, then that's led to more pressure on Tua, and when that pressure has happened, it's led to a lot more mistakes, whether that be direct snap, whether that be fumbling snaps, or whether that just be Tua getting pressure up the middle. So to me, I'm curious, maybe they put a Maxx Crosby once in a while at defensive tackle. Jerry Tillery's been playing a lot better. I want to focus on the center and focus maybe a little bit less on the edges compared to previous games. Let's go to the next one here, and I like to keep this basketball analogy because a lot of times I step up here on this show, and I'll talk about box and one, right? Like, well, you got one player. I say it a lot with the Chiefs. I'm going to say it next week. Box and one, you put one guy on Travis Kelce, and that's it. You don't let him beat you. Well, here's another basketball analogy that I can always remember from my days playing basketball. Yes, I used to play triangle and two defense, and the triangle and two defense was made very famous because it's a zone with three players, right? You put one guy at the top of the key, you put two guys on the bottom, and then you try to take away two players. Well, guess what? I'm trying to take away two players here with this triangle and two defense. First guy is Tyreek Hill, and I get it. Good luck. Tyreek Hill might be the best receiver in the NFL. He might be the best weapon in the NFL because of how athletic he truly is. But you know what? Nate Hobbs in years past has actually done a halfway decent job on Tyreek, and if I got to try to bracket cover him, I'm going to try to do my best of my ability to do that. On top of that, though, you also got to try to take away Jalen Waddle because it's been Tyreek Hill, it's been Jalen Waddle. That's who Tua Tagovailoa looks at in those big third down situations in the red zone. When they need a big play, those are the two guys that usually come up with it. They haven't really been able to find a third receiver. They haven't really been able to find another tight end since they let Mike Gesicki go. So to me, I'm that Raiders defense. I'm playing a triangle and two. I'm not letting Waddle. I'm not letting Hill beat me. I get it. It's a lot easier said than done, but that's where my concentration is going to go. Next one is this. Be physical and hit Tua. The Dolphins are not a physical team, and at times I think that's why they struggle in tough games because we can sit up here and talk about all the X's and O's we want. Sometimes it literally just comes down to who's the tougher team. Who's winning in the trenches? If the Raiders can win on the offensive side of the line, and if they go in on the defensive line, they're going to win in the trenches. That's good. On top of that, when Tua's been hit in years past, he turns into a different quarterback. He gets a little bit of the happy feet. And, I'm not going to lie to you. There's the times I watch Tua, and it kind of reminds me of Derek Carr because, you watch Tua play sometimes, you're like, holy shit, this guy's incredible. And then there's another drive, you're like, this guy stinks. So to me, I know Al Davis used to always say that sometimes you got to hit a quarterback in the first 5 to 10 plays to set that tone. I want the Raiders to try to hit Tua Tagovailoa in the first 5 to 10 plays. And then the last one is this. For the love of God, tackle. Because the Dolphins will kill you with yards after the catch. If Tyreek Hill catches the ball and you miss, you're in trouble. If Jalen Waddle catches the football and you miss, you're in trouble. If they're running the rock with Raheem Mostert and you miss, you're in trouble. Like, they have breakaway speed. It also looks like Devon Achane is going to be playing in this game, who he's averaging 12 yards per carry. The Dolphins' offense has been dynamic, and the Raiders need to be the more physical team. They need to wrap some guys up, and you need to bring them to the ground, because if it's one missed tackle, two missed tackles, you might be seeing a 70-yard touchdown, a 60-yard touchdown. The Dolphins are the fastest team in the National Football League, so make sure you're tackling, or else a lot of yak coming up here. One more time here off the top here for the Raiders to take down the Miami Dolphins on the offensive side of the football. Stick to the run game. Get Jacobs the ball a ton. Move Aidan O'Connell in the pocket. I don't want him to be a sitting duck. I want to see some of that play action. Control the clock. The longer you're on the field, the less time that Dolphins offense can be there, and don't be afraid to chew up some of that time. Get your tight ends involved. I want to see Michael Mayer going. That's where the Dolphins have really struggled in their secondary. No turnovers, simple, and get ballsy. I don't want to see a vanilla offense. I want to see the fake tush push, end around with the Andre Carter type of shit. That inspires an offense. And then on defense, the defensive line needs to beat a weak O-line for the Miami Dolphins. Yes, that offense is great, but if you can win in the trenches, you got a shot. Get some pressure on the center. That's their weakest spot on that offensive line. Triangle and two defense. Take away Tyreek Hill. Take away Jalen Waddle. Be physical. Try to hit Tua in the first 5 to 10 plays. Tackle. Do not allow any yards after the catch. All right, y'all. So, again, the Week 11 matchup here, November 19th, Week 11. The over-under, last time Chugs and I checked, and I couldn't even believe it, 46.5. Dolphins are 13-point favorites. That is a slap in the face. If this was a Josh McDaniels run team, I'd probably sit up here and say, oh, yeah, I can see that. Antonio Pierce's team plays with way too much heart to lose by this. I mean, to me, this is easy money in the bank. I am taking the Raiders to cover that every single day of the week. That doesn't mean that they're going to win the game. So what I want you to do right now is predict the score. And here's the thing. We're going to have a lot of Raiders fans. We're going to have a lot of Dolphins that come across this show. I want to know what your score prediction is going to be for the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Miami Dolphins.